Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and I have another design team haul I want to share. This is the latest release from Scrappiness and this is a big one, everybody. This is huge. Some of these were supposed to arrive earlier, but because of supply chain issues, they all kind of hit at the same time. So they're all coming out together, but what I'm going to do, because this is likely to be a little bit of a lengthy haul video, I grouped these into, for me, what seem like logical groupings. And so if you're only interested in a particular theme or type of collection, I'll timestamp this video. So if you don't have time to watch the full thing, you can just hover over the timeline, skip straight to that collection or that grouping as I've grouped them, and just check out those products. But I'll tell you what the different groupings are. We have Halloween. We have Thanksgiving/fall. We've got some really great essentials, some basic core sets that are fantastic, and then we have some interactive dies as well. So I'm going to start off with Halloween. All right, so off the top here, I've got two word die sets, Boo and Happy Halloween. It's a really fun font. It's kind of like that drippy slime kind of look. And then they both have their shadow or bubble layer as well. So there's that. We've got a backdrop die. This is a spider web and it's got some really nice stitch design all the way around the border, and it is USA 2 in size. So that's 4 1/4 wide by 5 1/2 tall. And this is one where you can use, I don't think there's a specific orientation. I think you can use it in any orientation that you want. This one's super fun. This one is called Cast a Spell, and it's all about potion bottles. So the way this works is it's a layering die set. So you can either die cut and color or die cut from different colored cardstock. But there are essentially 3 different shaped bottles. This one with the round one, this one, and then your test tube. And with each of those different shaped bottles, you have the bottle outline die itself, and then you have 2 dies to build up the liquid inside. So they are the same shape, but one has more details cut into it. It's got the bubble detail. So it's kind of that bubbly liquid that it's suggesting. And so you can die cut these out of 2 different colors and then layer them. So whatever color you want the bubbles to appear as, you can die cut out of that color for your plain shape, and then whatever color you want the liquid to be, you can die cut out of the more detailed plate that has the circles cut into it. So again, there's 3 different sets there to match the shape of the bottle. And then you even have the little cork or stoppers for your bottles, and there's 2 different sizes there. And then you've got some labels that you can put onto your bottles. And this is, I think, a little bit of that glass reflection. You know, if you were coloring an image and you are a sort of white gel pen user, so wherever you would put that little highlight of your white gel, you could die cut that version and put it onto your bottles. And you've got your skull and crossbones, if it's a poisonous potion that you are suggesting. And then you even have this shelf, which is very, just usable die on its own, because this can be a shelf of anything. It can be a shelf of books. Of course, you can put multiple shelves of your potion bottles as well. And you even have the little feet here. There's a separate die that you can cut that out of a different color as well and layer that up too. So really, really fun die set. Then we have this one, which is Witch's Brew. This is a fun shaker die set because here you have the cauldron, the witch's cauldron, but there's not only do you have that outside cutting edge, but you also have the inside cutting edge to create that aperture. And you do have to detab these dies. So the boot wouldn't normally be here. Your shaker bits is what would go here. What I love about the shaker frame is that this is a pretty good width. You don't have to get super skinny foam to create your shaker well. It's about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a smidge shy of it. But it's really, really nice that. But then besides that, you have just the outline of the cauldron as a separate die. And this die you can use to die cut your acetate, for example, to back this with. You could die cut out of pattern paper, solid color cardstock, whatever you want to be visible behind the aperture window. So that's another really useful die to have. And then you've got these two dies where you can kind of suggest whatever is brewing in the cauldron might be bubbling up. And so you can use these two dies for that effect. And the reason why it's called Witch's Brew is that you can see kind of the witch's, you can position your cauldron next to the witch's feet because you've got her boots, her 2 boots with their little buckles. And then her 2 legs, just a portion of them. And you have a lot of different designs for her stockings. So there's actually 4 if you don't start mixing and matching. So you've got the plain outside cutting edge die. That's going to be great if you have maybe pattern papers that you want to die cut from. And so you can die cut out of solid color cardstock, white cardstock and color it, pattern paper, whatever you'd like. You can also combine the solid die with the designs where there's been a pattern that's die cut out of it. So in this one, you have the stars. So the stocking, whatever color you want the stocking to be, you would die cut out of these plates, and then whatever color you want the stars to be, you can die cut out of the solid, and then back layer the 2, one on top of the other. And you can do the same with this design too, with the bubbles. And then this plate's pretty cool. This set is got some stripy detailing, but these are not cut lines. These are debossed lines. So they'll kind of add a little indentation and have that suggestion of some stripy details. But with that indentation, that might make it really easy to color in the stripes if you wanted to die cut out of one color and then color in every other stripe, for example. So really, really fun. This is an interactive die set, but I'm including it with the Halloween themed items, as well as this one, which is super cute. This is jack-o'-lantern / pumpkin. And again, it's another shaker die set that has your essential bit here is your pumpkin, and it's the same kind of duo. You've got your frame, and then you have your plain outside cutting edge, so that you can create it as a shaker or just as a pumpkin. This one has another really fun option, which is to turn your pumpkin into a jack-o'-lantern. So here you have one face option. This is probably your most standard jack-o'-lantern with the triangle eyes and the toothy grin. But then you've got a more scary jack-o'-lantern if you want. And then you have a ghost face. Really, really fun. And you can use these jack-o'-lantern faces cut into your pumpkin and make a shaker that way, because you can have shaker bits behind these open areas as well, or just back it with paper if you don't want to actually have a interactive card. You can just make a jack-o'-lantern, cut your pumpkin out of combine your pumpkin with your jack-o'-lantern face out of whatever color you want your pumpkin to be. You can die cut the pumpkin a second time out of a different color for whatever you want to show through your jack-o'-lantern face. So you might want to put black back there, or you might want to put yellow if you want to suggest maybe there's a light glowing. You could also just, speaking of glowing, you could also use your clear embossing powder and just kind of smear a bit of cardstock, put some glow-in-the-dark embossing powder over that, melt it, and then die cut your pumpkin out of that and then layer your pumpkin with jack-o'-lantern face on top, and then these elements behind here would actually glow in the dark. So that's another really fun option with that. So that makes up our Halloween themed items, and this one, because it's jack-o'-lantern, which is very Halloween, but it can also be a plain pumpkin, moves us nicely into our fall theme. So we have this really beautiful autumn foliage die set, and you have different shaped leaves, 3 different shapes. These are your 3 different shapes, and in each of the 3 different shapes there's different sizes, 2 different sizes. So really nice variety in that way, and they're all about 2 inches. These larger ones are about 2 inches in their longest direction, and this is probably about an inch. So these are about an inch and a half. So really, really nice size, and they have that lovely stitch detail for the veins as well. So once you run this through your die cutting machine, just that one pass is going to get you the die cut, but also all of that lovely vein detailing too. So we have that. And then we have, this is probably the one I'm most looking forward to crafting with. This is the Gobble Gobble stamp, and there is a coordinating die that will go with it. But look at all these fun little turkeys. They are so adorable. And that one is hilarious. He's inside, his head sticking out of a box, and the box is labeled "not a turkey." This one's my favorite. He's holding up a sign. It's blank, but that's because these different sentiments can fit inside. So we have "go vegan," "don't pick me," "eat ham," "eat chicken," "I love vegetarians." There are other sentiments, but I don't think those will fit inside there. But they're great to have. "Gobble till you wobble," "Happy Thanksgiving." This is my favorite. "You want to put the stuffing where?" So funny. Love this. And then besides all of that, you do get some additional images as well. So you got your pumpkin, your oak and acorn leaves, and with the dies, there's a coordinating die to cut basically everything you see, including the sentiments, which is really awesome because if you, let's say you want to color this in, and then decide maybe you want to switch the sentiment that you put in here. Like you had stamped one, maybe you didn't like it, you want to actually cover that up. You could always use the die to stamp it out separately, die cut it because it's going to be a close outline cut, and then layer the die cut over top. So if you had a little stamping boo-boo, you could cover it up. Or if you just don't want to bother trying to line up the sentiment into this board here, you can just stamp them separately, die cut them separately, and then layer them together. So really, really lovely to have the coordinating dies to go with that. Then we also have a 6x6 paper pad to go with Thanksgiving and just fall in general, because I think there are certainly some patterns that are Thanksgiving theme specific, but then the colors are very fall. So this is 6x6. There are 12 unique patterns, and you get 4 of each. And it is double-sided. So what's great about a double-sided paper is that if there's like one pattern that maybe you find a little bit hard to craft with, just turn it around. And hopefully you'll find something that's a little bit easier for you to work with. And most of the time, if not always, things that have like heavily themed, like the pumpkins, if you turn it to the back, it's going to be something a little bit more general purpose. So that's what I really love about how these have been designed, because that way you can really make use of everything. Nothing goes to waste. Sometimes I feel like with single-sided pattern papers, if there's a pattern that I don't like, I don't know how to use effectively, it's just white on the back, so I feel like it's a waste if I don't use it. But then at the same time, I feel like it's hard to use. So often papers like that just sit around in my craft room. But a paper pad like this, I feel like it's a really good mix of some very specific Halloween, Thanksgiving But then also some very general purpose, not even specific to fall. A lot of these colors you can use all year long. Some of them you can even use for Christmas, like the maroons. So I think that would really work like that. So really, really fantastic, versatile paper pad. Okay, so that covers our Thanksgiving and autumn. So now let's move into some essentials. There are some really great sets here. So this first one is Simple Sentiments, and it is a stamp, and if you want, you can get the coordinating die set as well. And the reason why this one is so fantastic is because this is a single stamp. Really nice, solid stamp. One, it's nice that sometimes with these smaller sentiment stamps that are small font like this, when they are individual stamps, sometimes it can be hard for me anyways to get it to sit straight on my stamping platform. And so, this being solid, it's going to be straight for you. You don't have to worry about that because you really can't kind of wiggle this around. The other thing is that everything is very neatly lined up. So even if you don't have a die cutting machine, you don't want to get the coordinating dies just yet, although you should if you can, because it's going to make your life easy. But even if you don't have that or can't use a die, all of the sentiments are lined up, so you can use your trimmer, your guillotine, your ruler and craft knife, just your scissors, because you can just cut straight across and then just snip them apart. Really, really lovely. The sentiments are going to be all purpose all year long. They're not specific to any particular holiday, although birthday, you do get a couple of different birthday ones, which I think is fantastic personally because I make birthday cards the most, because, well, maybe outside of Christmas cards, birthday cards are the ones I use the most. So we have happy belated birthday, but you also have happy birthday, and you also get birthday wishes. So you get 3 different versions of birthday specific sentiments. But then outside of that, there's lots of sentiments for all occasions, and they're general enough that you can use them for any occasion. So for example, celebrate, congrats, best wishes, miss you, just stopping by to say. You've got just because, hello friends, sending my love, sending you sunshine with heartfelt sympathy, thank you, best day ever, rainbow wishes, you are amazing. So there's a lot here. And let's count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 times 2. So you got 22 sentiments. What's brilliant about this is that you can stamp the one time and get all 22 sentiments. Then you can die cut, and if you see in the corner here, the stamp has this little plus sign, and you'll see it in all 4 corners. The die has a little plus that you can, these are registration marks. So registration marks being how you can line up your stamped cardstock with your die. You just line them up on these 4 crosses or plus signs, and then when you die cut out your stamped panel, it's gonna result in perfectly cut, sized, and aligned little sentiment banners. So in 2 steps, stamp, cut, you're gonna get 22 very useful sentiment banners. So this is a really fantastic core item, really a nice essential to have. So that's your simple sentiments stamp and die set. Then we have some new nested shape dies, and we have the nested stitched dies in both this dome shape, and the largest one is right about 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so USA 2. You could create a shaped card with that, but you get 5 different sizes, and with the hexagon, same thing, 5 different sizes. So really fantastic new nesting stitched dies. We get this one, which is really cool. It's a nesting deco frames die set. Again, USA 2 is the largest die, so that's 4¼ by 5½. That'll be your full panel. And it's not a frame in that it cuts out the inside cutting edge for you, because it does not. It just has the outside cutting edge, but what the frame aspect is the deco design that frames that border. And you get 4 different sizes here. If you did want to have a proper frame, what you could do is use the next size down and cut the 2 together. And then that would give you a nice frame with the inside aperture cut out. And that inside aperture is going to be a gorgeous panel with that deco frame detailing as well. And that's a really nice sort of deboss detailing. So really fantastic that. And then we have a Maelstrom backdrop die. So this is also really fantastic. It's going to be a really nice background for any card. And I feel like this might be a really fun one to do some paper piecing, because I might be inclined to actually paper piece the negative space, because those seem like nice large bits. So it wouldn't be too hard to piece those ones, just that back in, so that you have the background as one color, your envelopes as one color, and then you've got your frame, which also does have that nice stitched border detail. And you could always, if you wanted, you could snip away some of these if you wanted to, just have some of the envelopes falling. You could snip into this a little bit to trim it if you wanted. There's because it's because of the envelope design, it's a lot of straight cuts to just snip it away. So I think this one's very snippable. Okay, so those are our essentials, sort of some nice core stash builders. Then getting into the last sort of set, and this is your 3D box die set. Really fun, interactive kind of pop-up box die set. Let me take this out. So this is going to be your core. There's 2 dies. There's actually 4 dies. This one you need to detab. You could, I guess, leave it this way if you wanted. But it is actually 3 different die cuts. They are the same width. These are 2 glue tabs with the score lines put in for you. And their heights are what differentiate them. So you get 3 different heights. And this set of dies, these are what I call the bridge pieces, because they will actually bridge from one side of your box to the other side of your box. And this die will cut the back of your box with that lovely, it's a really nice shape, and then some stitch border detailing as well. And so that becomes the backdrop of your box design. There are 2 score lines put here, and then these sides fold up. Your bridge pieces, as I mentioned earlier, bridge from one side of the box to the other. So you can see the 2 score lines meet up, and these little tabs would glue to the sides. I have a lot of pop-up box style cards on my channel, so you can check that out, because you can definitely do it without the help of dies, but with dies like these, it makes it a lot easier, especially with fancy curved edges like these. When I hand cut my own 3D pop-up box dies, it's usually just the straight edges for this piece here. So really lovely that. And because we get 3 different heights, you can kind of create like a staggered stage where you have different heights of your scene, and you can have like a foreground, a midground, a background, and even your backdrop here. So lots of opportunity to create different layers to your scene. And the beautiful thing about this set is that it still folds down and can fit into an A2 size envelope. So that's the base of your box. You're gonna want to pick that up if you're interested in making this style of card. And then you have some additional goodies. So these are add-ons. And they are different, what I called bridge pieces. They are different designs for your bridge pieces. So you've got this one, which is your grass design. And it's really great because for each of these add-on sets, it's the same premise of having different heights for each of the same border design. And what's great is that it's not the blades that are taller or shorter, because if you had really tall, skinny blades, that might have a tendency to perhaps rip and you wouldn't have, a nice solid area to maybe attach scene elements and whatnot behind it. So the actual height of the grass blades is the same, but if you look at the solid area below the grass design, that's different for each of these three. And the same will be true of the other patterns as well. This one is called Hills. So it's just a really nice soft hill, but it's got that lovely stitched border design, which matches the backdrop here. And then the last option in this release is Waves. So you have the Waves add-on too, and you've got that lovely kind of scallop for waves, so great for your underwater scenes and things like that. And of course, if you want, you could definitely mix and match between all of these, because you have your basic one here. So if you wanted, you could just have maybe your grass in the foreground, and you can have your standard ones behind that. Or you can have grass in the foreground, but maybe as you get more in the background, it's just your nice soft hills, because you wouldn't necessarily see all of that grassy detail as you look further back in the background. So again, you can mix and match. You definitely don't need all of them, because your basic 3D box die set will have a set of bridge pieces, but it's really nice to have these different shapes for the borders. So that's also an option. So huge release. And if you're curious or interested in any of these products, I'll link to as many of them as I can in the description box below, but pop on over to the Cat Scrappiness website to check them out. Everything is live now if you want to check that out for yourself. And of course, when I craft with this release, I will certainly link to at least one of those projects at the end of this video, but everything that I make featuring Cat Scrappiness products will go into my Cat Scrappiness playlist. And so that's the place to find all of the projects and haul videos where I feature Cat Scrappiness items. Thank you so much for joining me today, and until next time, happy crafting, fantastic day. Bye.